Okay, so I realized that I talked too much. So we might have to skip the, let's see. So now we will begin with, we will do instead of starting with the two truths, we will talk a little bit about practice. Practice is a good word, actually much better than meditation. So, okay, form is emptiness, emptiness is form, all of that, fine, very good, but how to use that in our day-to-day life? Remember, if somebody pinches somebody's bottom and you get angry, how do you do that at that time? How do you use it? This is where the practice comes. The Buddhist philosophy of emptiness is not some sort of an intellectual exercise where you wear a beret and have a cigar hanging in your mouth and drink thick coffee and discuss about this again and again and do nothing about this. Practice, you can practice. And this is something I need to tell you again and again. I will start telling you this. Even offering a flower to a temple, and if you are so sort of atheist, sort of oriented, that you don't like temples and statues, then even making offering of a flower to the Rajanaparamita text, even that kind of seemingly religious practice is never discouraged. We encourage it. You know, you go to the Tibetan Buddhist temples with a humongous Buddha statue and so many paraphernalia. And there's a temple in Japan, a Zen temple. They have no statues, but there's only 2 stones. And the Zen monk, the monk there, told me that the big stone is the Buddha and the smaller stone is the Ananda. And to me, that's so beautiful. That's also accepted. When we talk about the two truths tomorrow, we will talk about the harmony. I mean, it's more than a harmony, actually. Anyway, for now, harmony of the two, we talk about everything is emptiness, form is emptiness, emptiness is form, all of that, all this emptiness. And yet, incense, flower, mantras chanting, head shaving, all this still coexists. That's so important. Bottom line, what should the practice do? The bottom line, the practice must deconstruct, purify, get rid of, or bottom line, the practice has to overcome the habitual patterns. That's what the practice are for. It's kind of so frustrating that the Buddha gave so many methods, so many, and yet not only we choose very few, and we not only that, that's already not so good. That's already not so smart for choosing only few, and not only that, saying that this is the only way it will work, the rest won't work. That's really unacceptable. I will, have to say, partially this is a fault of the Buddhist teachers, who all happen to be sort of renouncant monks. It's their fault. How many of you have seen in the temples statue of Shariputra like that? How many? Most of you have seen this. So, which monastery have Ashoka statue? Harshavardhana statue. You don't even know who Harshavardhana is. Or people like Tang Taizong. These guys have done so much for Buddhism also. Equally important. If not for Ashoka, Buddhism has been expired long ago. I think we, the Buddhists, deprive so much the abundance method that we have. That's the sad part. You know, in the Sutra of Fortunate Eon, Kalpasambuddho, there, a Buddha, one of the Buddha, when he first took the Bodhisattva vow, you know, we all, you know, the Bodhisattvas, they have to sort of begin a practice. And you know what he did? He only took 1 day vow. And that's how he began the Bodhisattva path. 1 day. In the other sutras, there is an account where Buddha was approached by a butcher who wants to practice the Dharma, but because his profession is this, he has to feed his family, he has no choice. Buddha said, oh, there's no problem. You take a vow that you will not kill from nightfall till the sunrise, or something like a dawn. Does it tell you something? To me, it tells that there is abundance of method. Of course, Buddha didn't give him permission to kill. Buddha gave him a discipline that he can practice for 1 night. So this is what I was talking about, Harley Davidson Buddhist. I was thinking about last night, what should we call this? And I thought, hey, let's call moderate Buddhist.
What?
But moderate.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's a wrong idea, because this moderate thing is this European and Westerners, guilt-ridden, politically correct people have created this word called moderate. It's not right for me. I mean, look at the situation. If you are a Tibetan Buddhist, I mean, the foreigners especially, if you are following Tibetan Buddhists, more likely you will be discussing, have you done Mando? I'm in the prostration. I'm in this. I'm doing the mandala. Have you received Dzogchen teachings? Have you done 3 years retreat? Are you vegetarian? See, that method of practice is so limited. Yes, you might go on playing your casino games. You may go on drinking. I'm not giving you permission, by the way. Don't misinterpret me. Yep. You go on being all this so-called bad behavior. But you learn to trust Prajnaparamita. Hey, this makes sense. I like this guy called Avalokiteshvara. I like this Shakyamuni. I think I am going to follow them. But of course, you will still gamble, you still drink, you still never practice, you never, I mean, probably you buy a statue somewhere in the statue shop here, but once you put it in your room, you never see it for 2 years, probably. Stuff like this keep on happening. But I think, to me, this is valuable. This need to be cherished. Lamas should not condemn this. So, how do we practice? Form is emptiness is not form. How do we practice that? How do we, can't say watermelon is emptiness is watermelon. You can't just visualize. You can't visualize emptiness. Okay, there's nothing here, which is complete fake. It's not true. You cannot bulldoze everything. You understand? Anyway, according to Telopa, it is not the watermelon that's going to be an obstacle for your enlightenment. It is the attachment to the watermelon that is going to be the obstacle, isn't it? Where is this watermelon come from? Should I sanitize this? Stuff like that, all the afterthoughts. Okay, so how do we practice this shunyata? There are two, there's many. Meditation is not the only way. Please, you must know this. I have all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas and the Panditas of the past, they're backing if I tell you, go to Baudha Stupa every day and offer a flower and say, I'm offering this so that I will realize Prajnaparamita. That's good. That is good enough. It's, because What it means is you are longing for the Prajanaparamita. Longing for the Prajanaparam means you are valuing that. You are valuing, value. You put so much value to the Prajanaparamita. The sight of offering a flower sometimes is much, much more inspiring than people sitting on zafu. Oh God, that was so creepy these days, especially. Sort of self-righteousness there. Sort of very puritanical look. But meditation is one very good way. It's a very, at the least, it's probably the most hands-on and economical, because you don't even have to buy a flower. And, okay, something, samadhi, really, the quintessence of the samadhi is non-distracted. So, trying to gather discipline and atmosphere to not get distracted is important. This is why people also go to more isolated, like mountains and caves, because supposedly there's a lesser chance you get distracted, but can't guarantee. I'm a very good example. Every time I do retreat, I get a lot of things done. That is not a good sign. Getting things done, that is not your purpose. That means you are distracted. The moment you close the door and you are doing your session, you remember the things, like where you put your wallet, where you put your key, and then you begin to remember things, and then you begin to jot it down, and, things begin to plan and scheduling everything. But I'm not condemning. One should still do it. It's still better than nothing. Like Tibetan use a rosary, mala, to chant. Many people say, oh, what's the point of chanting? Why count? Oh, it's important. At least the world is saved from your left hand. So keep this hand busy doing something at least meaningful. Jamgon Kongtrul Lotetai is so special. Greatest, some of the teachings that we have today in the Sakya, especially Sakya, Nyingma, and Kagyu tradition, one reason is because of him. Compiling, editing, putting it together. Anyway, he used to do this is what I heard. He used to write, he's chanting a mantra. He used to write and edit and all of that. And that urgency, sense of urgency is so strong, he doesn't even have, he has this, instead of using ink, because ink means taking time, right? You put it there. So what he has is this, I don't know, it's called samta. It's like a slate where you put a little bit of butter, and then maybe not butter, oil, and then some ashes, and then you don't have to even have pause for ink. You just write. And then when that's finished, another samta, the slate, 20, 30 sometimes slates he writes. Meanwhile, this hand is chanting a mantra, and this finger sometimes even, pull a prayer wheel. And by the way, don't think, wow, only Jamgon Kongtrul can do this. That's like a superhuman being. Not true. Jamgon Kongtrul valued that. We are also very good, equal to him, actually. So this, sometimes driving and texting, and you understand? But we value something else. The amount of the texting we have done, if we could compile it all together, will be more than Jamgon Kongtrul, which is, volumes, lots of volumes. But the contents does not benefit you, does not benefit others, nothing. Anyway, so Even though yesterday I said sitting straight is not necessarily the only way. Sitting straight is a very, very good method. Chances of you doing a shamatha vipassana on a hammock and a margarita, you understand, and having a good meditation is less, I think, especially for the beginners, than sitting straight. But the main thing is you are not supposed to be distracted. Okay, not supposed to be distracted from what? Two techniques you can apply. Not distracted from a specific object, such as your breath, which is basically shamatha. The other is, as we did yesterday, whatever you are thinking, just knowing that. So, you are thinking about Paris. Just know that. Next, you think about Rome. No need to sort of say, oh, come on, stop Rome. I want to go back to Paris. Just go to Rome and know that. Okay, here I need to qualify this a little bit. So, this is what happens. Usually, a thought comes. And when the thought comes, we don't know. And by the way, that's all the time. Most of the time, that's how it is. When the thought comes, we don't know. I'm sure you swallowed all the breakfast this morning without even knowing that's what you were eating, whatever you were eating. I'm sure. Because you are thinking of something else.
Sorry?
You are thinking of something else. Okay, this morning you are Darjeeling tea. Okay, the Darjeeling tea is there. And you drink and then you think, this is good. Probably what? First flushing? Is it? You understand? But then you are already distracted because you are not knowing. Unless you are knowing it, you are already distracted. Because next you'll be planning to go to that shop again to buy. Okay? So, again, today we will do two things. Today we are going to first we will do a traditional classic one. So please sit straight. And whatever the thought comes, just know that. If it is a very hideous one, don't condemn yourself. If it is very spiritual and serene and wholesome one, don't get excited. Your job is simply watch. But let's do that with the sitting straight. Okay, that's enough. My heartfelt advice for you, never ever do meditation long. If you have never drunk alcohol, and if you drank one bottle, you will never even want to look at the bottle again. If you have never drank alcohol before, and if you drank one bottle in one go, you will never even want to look at it again. First, you drink little bit, and then, but frequency and consistency is important. After a few months, you'll become a perfect alcoholic. Likewise, if you do shot frequently, consistently, there will be a time after maybe 6-7 months, there will be a time when you don't do your meditation, you will think that you are missing out something, and that is good. You are beginning to become a sort of a spiritual person. Okay, next we are going to just sit however you are, not sit or whatever, doesn't matter. But this time we are going to use our ear. tomorrow, can you bring something to eat? Like, I don't know, doesn't matter, biscuits, vegan biscuits, whatever, doesn't matter, whatever suits you. I just want to let you know that, practice is possible with everything. Okay, so what we do is now we listen to the sound, and there is a plenty, and just know that. Don't get caught up with a good sound. Don't get irritated by bad sound.
Yep.
Okay,
How?
I have asked some people to challenge us ourselves. I've asked two, right? Two pieces or one song? One song. I've asked somebody to sing a song so that we will just listen. Don't think, we will try not to get caught up, but we will just listen and know. And during that time, yes, please be free to use WeChat as I'm doing now. Or do whatever you want, but just knowing. Okay, thank you.
谢谢。
We will now go to the world with a mindfulness, if possible.